All right, guys, welcome back to another live episode of Muscle Discord every Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. We got a special guest on the show tonight as well, the real deal, Chris Cormier. Man, this is going to be a big one. Got my man, Jamaican Tank, Phil Clayhar, back on the show. And we got Ron Harris from Ron Harris Muscle back on. Man, Ron's been getting the big interviews. He's got Dorian, he's got Ronnie. It's like, just getting the big hitters. So, but yeah, so Chris Cormier. So we got someone that was on the ground in Pittsburgh, right up front. So this is going to be a kind of a good kind of inside look as to what actually happened at the show, what happened on stage. We all saw the live stream, but what really happened in person up front and close. So let's just jump right into it. I'm going to share my screen. I got the photos here to go through. We're going to get everyone's assessment about what happened, and then we'll break it down from there. All right, so let's go here, share screen. I'm going to go here, move this. We'll go with this one. Okay, move this over here. So let's just go. We'll go pose for pose here. This first off, this even the front relax.
Front relax.
We'll go, Chris. You go first. You're the guest.
Sorry, I was front relaxed. I was just really impressed with Nick's front relaxed. Like the whole show, like that was his thing. When he walked out, like that right there is a perfect relaxed shot for a professional bodybuilder. And I was already he already gave me my attention, like, oh shit, this is gonna be something.
Okay. Phil, what's your thought on the front relaxed?
The same.
Yeah. Ron, your opinion on the front relaxed?
Looks great, massive, good V taper. He's killing it.
Yeah, I give Nick the front relaxed. I don't know, it's very close. I obviously Derek, the way he's hitting, maybe his arms are a little too high there, but obviously Nick's quads are a little fuller, bigger. Obviously, the only thing that distracts me is his waist line there. Derek's able to hit that vacuum in that front relaxed. His structure more of an X frame, but I'll give that one to Nick Walker, the front lat spread. Okay, let's jump into it. Front double bicep.
Also, if you look when they have that front relaxed, Derek's doing a vacuum.
Yeah,
this guy's not doing a vacuum. He's just locking down into his muscle. I mean, a vacuum, and there's not even that much difference right there, as far as width or whatever. It's not like it's not a bad thing for Nick right there. So and I think he did a great job throughout the show. I know sometimes somebody got a photo of him with a relaxed stomach, but I'd say a good 95, 97% of the time he was locked in.
Yeah, and I said when he's in the pose, it's good, but when he lets it slip, those little things, the judges see you breathing heavy, all those little things when it's that close, it gives him a reason to be like, it's a tie. Okay, who we're going to go with? Look at
Derek's facial expression, though. He looked worried there.
Yeah, when he first started, when they were going through, this was the third round. This is the third round here. So these are the photos from the third round confirmation. So, okay, let's go into front double bicep. Now, one thing I want to point out too with Nick Walker is he's never smiling. Now, I know people are like, oh, who cares about smiling? It's just, it brings an aura to yourself, to your physique, to what you're displaying, that you're confident. Nick just looks worried. He looks like he doesn't almost want to be there. I don't know what your guys' take on that is. Does it matter if the guy smiles or not?
In my opinion, I think it depends on the personality. And his personality is more like, I'm running through you, like Mack truck style. And, a smile is good. But I think it's relative to, to who the personality of the guy is.
Yeah.
So
Dorian never smiled, like ever.
So yeah, Dorian worked on his posing a lot, and everything was very deliberate. And he mastered it towards the end. That's one thing you do as a Mr. Olympia.
Okay. So let's go through each guy here. So Front double bicep. Who's winning the front double bicep? Chris, we'll start with you there.
I got to give it to Nick. I mean, if you look at the actual biceps itself, the naturally big bicep peaks, I got to give that to Nick.
Okay, I'm just going to keep track here. Okay, Ron, who you got? Front double bicep.
Same thing. I mean, Derek's got the better shape and structure, but his biceps here look awful compared to Nick's. Those quads were really. I would never think Nick Walker was going to show up with better quads than Derek Lunsford, but here we are.
Okay. And what makes you say Nick has a better front double bicep than?
Just the development of the arms, the development of the quads, shape and structure. Derek smokes Nick all day, every day. There's no question about that. But just at the judging, he just didn't bring it. Those quads were looking almost as bad as they were at the last Olympia. The biceps, they're not as developed, anywhere nearly as developed as Nick. And there's like no separation there between the bis and the tris. It's like a blob. I mean, it's. I never thought Nick was going to push him this hard. I was really surprised.
Okay, Phil, your thoughts on the front double bicep?
Well, Nick obviously have a good front double bicep because I really wasn't zooming in on Derek's bicep until I was on social media and quite a few people were talking about it. So then I had to go back and look at it. I mean, they're claiming it could possibly be oil. I don't know. So I'm not only going to start at speculations, but Nick's bicep looks natural, the peak at the top. Derek legs, I think, looked a little bit better for the night show. I think in prejudging, I think it was a little on the flatter side. He never really, in my opinion, have crazy killer legs, but with extending that leg out, I don't know if Chris had helped him with that because before he used to stand straight up like Nick. Yeah. I think by that illusion of putting that leg out to show that sweep, I don't think to me that made a dramatic difference. His back shot's what really hurt Derek, but from the front, I think that was good. I just think it's the bicep. I like his vacuum, his waistline. It's just that bicep. It is called a front double bicep for a reason. So that's why I would lean towards Nick for this one.
Okay. That leaves me. I'm going with Derek on this. Even I was listening to RX and Dave and Aceto, and they were giving this one to Derek. Obviously Ceto's a little biased. He even admits that he's biased, but just the structure of Derek. Yes, the biceps. If I'm going to fault, Nick or Derek for his biceps, I'll fault Nick for his waist in this shot. At the end of the day, what's more important, the bicep in this pose?
What's wrong with it?
With it, it's not as aesthetically pleasing structurally than Derek's, and it does have a bit of a turtle shell shape to it. It's not fully even going in. Even when it hits the ab and thigh, we're going to show you that too. It has that effect as well. So I just see it more kind of up and down with Nick versus with Derek. I'm seeing the silhouette. Like, whose silhouette? If it was this black and white silhouette, who would be better?
If you're breathing out, you can catch it like that at certain times. But I'm telling you, when the guy walked out on the stage, it was glued. It was not a situation. I was thinking to myself, people are gonna have to stop talking about the guy's waist. It's just gonna have to stop because he's keeping it in check the whole time.
He did in the poses. It was good. Yeah. So you all gave it. I'm giving it to Derek for the FDB. Okay. Next shot here. Front and lat spread. Cormier. Who's got quick? And why? I always people say, well, what it is, but why? Why is Derek beating Nick?
Actually hitting the shot a lot better. The hand placement is better. Just the whole shape and everything is way better with Derek's. For me.
Okay.
He could change this. He could change his pose on Nick.
That's what I was saying.
Probably look a little better, but he's not hitting it right to challenge with Derek. Yeah.
From opposing coach, should Nick flare one leg out like Derek is?
You don't really have to, but you'd have to change the where the hands are, and you have to change just depending on how long the arms are and everything. Like, I showed that to Derek before, so I know how he hits that shot.
Okay. Phil, who you got on the front lat?
I have Derek. Reason being, I can see more of his upper delt. Nick looks like I don't know, he's leaning back slightly, and I don't know why the way he's leaning, his lats really isn't expanding. Now, from his back lat spread, if he could do that from the front, I think that'll make it look better. But with Derek, I mean, it's just his whole posture. You can see everything. With Nick, it's rolling back a little bit, so I don't even see his delts fully. So I think if that little tilt back and not really expanding his lats as if he would the lat spread from the back. So I'll go with Derek.
Okay, Ron.
Yeah, I'd go with Derek. I mean, Nick could move his fist down a few inches and maybe open up a little, because it looks like he's not really opening up that front lat spread. Derek really is. Derek's got a great V taper in that shot. That's how that pose is supposed to look. Nick's doing something between a front lat and like a most muscular variation.
Yeah. And the thing is, Nick has massive delts, so you'd think they would pop off more like Derek's in here. But again, maybe it's just the way he's posing it. But I'll give that to Derek as well. Okay. Next shot. Side chest.
No, it gets tricky.
Chris, who you got on the side chest?
I got Nick.
Yeah.
I got Nick.
Why? What? Okay. Why is Nick beating? Obviously, he usually beats everyone in this pose. But why is he beating Derek in this pose?
Just if you just look at muscle to muscle, go with the pecs, go with the shoulders, go with the arm, go with the side of his quad, and the definition and the conditioning. I got to go. If I was going to go to war, I would probably take the guy on the right.
Okay. Phil, who you got on the side chest?
I like Derek just because that's how I do mine. I don't do mine here. I like to turn a little bit. It just gives the pick squeezing from this side, but just his whole shoulder, the width of that whole side chest and that turn. I like it because that's what I do. That's more my style, and I favor that. I think it just gives a whole display. I mean, Nick's a powerhouse, so that fits him better. But I'll go with Derek for that pose there.
Is that the actual the form in which he's hitting the shot? Or you
like how he's showing everything from shoulder to shoulder, pec coming across. Nick is squeezing, but I think Nick is turning up this way instead of just turning. You know what I mean? It just looks like, which a lot of people do pose that way. They'll like to twist that rear shoulder up to give more of a squeeze to that pec. But I like more showing that more square look so you can see chest and shoulder ratio. That's what I like. But Nick has shorter arms too. Well, they both got shorter arms. I'm a little taller, so I have to turn a little bit more.
Okay. Ron, who you got on the side chest?
I'll give it to Nick. I like the old school style of hitting the side chest. We lift up the rib cage, and his chest is markedly thicker looking here than Derek's.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like that twisting thing.
Look at the photo. I mean, look at the muscles.
Looks like he needs a lot more pecs. Nick's pecs are thick as hell. I know it's a full body shot. You're not just judging the pecs. It's close. Derek looks very good. I'm not taking anything away from the guy.
It's close all night. That's why we're here.
Yeah, his chest looks very underdeveloped compared to Nick's in this shot. And it's a side chest.
It needs to improve.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll give it to Nick, but Derek is hitting.
No, do we lose Matt?
You froze.
Oh, sorry.
There he is.
Sorry. Okay, I'll go again. So I think what Phil was saying is that Derek is hitting it better. Like he's displaying it better. But Nick, in my opinion, wins this pose. He's just very thick and dominant. But if Nick hit it like Derek hitting it and twisted a little bit more and opened up that top shelf of his pecs, because that's what Tyler says in his recaps. He's like, he wants to see the width from the top, the far delt to the other delt, as much space being taken up. And Nick is wider than a little bit wider than Derek. He should be looking bigger in that pose, and he almost doesn't look bigger than Derek in the pose.
The right pec is going to be spread out, but the other one's going to be contracted. So I mean,
yes. Yeah, Derek doesn't have the development where like when Ronnie would hit the poles and you could flex that far pec. That's he's not really hitting that. So yeah, and the side quad is a little bit bigger on Derek for that pose. I like the way Derek looks. The side quad is bigger on Nick, but I like the way Derek looks in the pose more than Nick. But from a muscularity standpoint, it goes to Nick. Nick usually doesn't lose that side chest pose. So, all right. Okay. We'll go to back to bicep. We're gonna get to the side tricep in a second.
This to me, if you look down low into these hamstrings and legs, I was like, oh shit! Like this guy's kept some size in the legs and the hamstrings pulling. I like the density that he showed. Like normally this is a 10-8 round for Derek against anybody. That's the way we picked him, leading into the show. Nobody can stand close to it. If you look at the actual line down the spine, like down through there, development through the rhomboids, teres majors and minors right there. Highly, some definition there that I saw right there. Right there does not look like Nick from the back as opposed to someone having a waist problem or something like that.
We discussed this in the leading up to the show, Phil, and we were all mentioned like his waist looks tiny from the back, looks almost smaller than Derek's from the back, which is weird.
And so Derek, we all know about Derek's back, but I was just
in person, what is it looking like?
Yeah, so when Derek hit it, he got the width, he's got his trademark back shot, whatever, but I just never seen someone hang that close with him.
Yeah.
It was not a 10-8 round here. And some of these times when they hit it throughout the day, they went up there many times. A few times he actually won the back double bicep to me. It's funny to say, but I'm just telling you the density that was jumping off. I was there right in the middle, right here, especially at the end. And, when I'm not talking about the glutes, but I'm just talking about when you hit a back double bicep, some of those times it was like, holy shit, it was like right there. That's how they got the tie.
Okay. So you're getting. So who do you have winning the shot though? Is it Nick?
I'll go with Derek, but it's fucking close.
Closer.
It's not a slam dunk at all.
Okay. Phil, who you got on the back double?
I'm gonna go with Derek for the width and that 3D look. It just reminds me like of Phil Heath from that shot with a 3D look and the width. Nick back is incredible. I think he's a smidgen drier. That's what I was impressed with, that he was hanging with Derek with that back shot. But when you're looking at the width and that 3D, it looks ridiculous. We all know Derek has a great back, but Nick still put up a good show. I think Nick could have opened up. That still looks like he's pinching a bit with that back shot. I think he could have really opened up his lats, and I think that would have made even more, a presentation if he would open it up. But I give it to Derek just for that 3D and that width and that dense muscle, just the back up, but not the legs.
And the dryness, that give you any points there?
Nick was dry. I give Nick the more. Nick's conditioning was really good, except the glutes, but everything else, Nick was really, really dry. That's why I understand why it was so close, because Nick is a big dude, and with that dryness, I think he just lost it a little bit when Steve was really pushing the limits and really posing him. I think that's where he lost it.
Okay. Ron, what's your assessment?
Derek wins this one pretty easily to me. I'm not downplaying Nick, but Derek's back is so much thicker in the middle. His arms his arms don't look as bad from the back in the rear double. They look a lot better than they do in the front double. The only questionable thing is, his entire lower body is smaller. His legs are definitely smaller in this shot, significantly than Nick's. But that back it's a much better back than Nick's.
Okay.
Derek.
Good point when you say the middle of Derek's back is there's so much more thickness and density through the middle part of his back. When you look at Nick, he's got a good shape, but he doesn't have as much width. And he doesn't have as much thickness.
He does have that separation jumping
The separation, yes.
The separation, there should be a separation line straight down the middle of the back where the spine is. That should be almost like I mean, you see how Nick's got that line coming through there. Derek's just gonna smooth it over together.
In the top part, a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Something
and I think, okay. And with Derek, Chris, for posing wise, is he leaning back too much?
Derek?
Yes.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. If he went up a little bit, he would look more like Nick, and I think it would make his back even look bigger because he's coming down a bit. And then,
and being a shorter guy, I mean, I'd want to stand a little taller.
Yeah,
I would turn those hands a little bit more, and I would spread a little bit wider. I don't know if he's crunching in his back also either.
Yes, it maybe a tiny bit, but the thing too with his leg stance, you see how Nick's leg, he's got one back a bit further, and he kind of yank on his inner hamstring to make it feel the gap in between the legs, where Derek, he's not doing that. He's got legs more side by side almost, and you got the gap here versus Nick, the way he can pull the hamstring. Even Keon can do it now, where he can flex the inner hamstring to fill that gap in between the hamstrings. I think if taught how to do it, Derek could do it, but he's just posing the legs improperly in this pose, I think. Chris, what's your assessment on this?
Yeah, I could say that. And the ways to, spike your toes into the ground and pulling up like you're doing a hamstring curl. It'll make it pop a little bit more. Then all it depends on also, I think Nick is hitting this with most of his weight is on the left foot. And then, the latter part is on the right. So you can dig in there and get a little bit more out of the hamstrings. Look at the development difference.
Yeah.
That's
the adductors. Yeah. Okay. So back double, close. I agree. I think most people out there, even social media, I know the pundits are saying it was very close. Like, considering Derek's pretty much got the best back double, the fact that Nick Walker was able to bring it this close says a lot about Nick Walker and the improvements he made in his back.
Right.
So we'll give him some kudos there. Relax. Cormier, who do you got on there? It's closer.
Yeah, it's closer. It's closer. It's closer.
It's tough.
It all depends. It's super close. I feel like I don't know, man. I got them. They're close to not far off from each other. You got a little bit more tightness in the glutes, but you got better hamstrings on Nick. You got a bit, like I said, the glutes for Derek, and then you go up to the back. I think Nick could have got a little bit more out of his back in this pose. I think he kind of retracted a little bit where you get those indentions right there. But I probably have to go with Derek for the lat spread. But like I said, he usually just smokes people in this, and I feel like it's definitely not an 8-10. It's definitely, like, if it was going to be a 9-10 or something like that, it's definitely, that's why, when you talk about Derek, that was part of his thing, was to smoke him in the back, and then that's like almost like a knockdown for that round. But he's not getting a knockdown. It's like like a decision. You're gonna make you think about it.
Okay. So back rear lat spread goes to Derek.
Yeah.
Phil, who you got on the lat spread?
I have Derek for the fact I'm just looking at the thickness and the width. I have Derek. Once again, Nick's back is drier, but I have Derek for the thickness and the width. Now, all due respect, though, we got to understand this is not the same Derek from the Arnold. Nowhere close.
Nope.
Because in Arnold, his legs were a little bit it had some oomph to it. So, not bad for this show. I mean, it's very hard to, peak numerous of times. We had this discussion before. So thickness, that 3D look, that width, I'll give it to Derek.
Okay. Ron, who you got on the back double?
Rear lat. Derek all day.
Or sorry, rear lat.
Yeah, I mean,
Derek.
Again, I go back to the mid back. Look from the traps all the way down to the lower back, the lumbar. So thick, so dense, so wide. The lats are almost like at a 90-degree angle on each side. It's a Dorian-esque type of back. Nick has a very good back, but Derek is another level. Nick needs a lot more thickness in the middle if he's going to hang. I mean, I can't think of one person who has a better back than Derek Lunsford right now. Can you?
No, even Samson and Hottie.
Okay, but don't say Dorian-esque.
No.
We're not doing that.
No.
Ronnie-esque.
But so I'll give obviously Derek the rear lat spread, but you can see even the fact that his back, the lats pop out a lot more like here.
Yeah, the lower.
Out, right? Yeah. But versus Nick, it's more kind of, there's not as much pop. That right there just shows that guy has more width and a little bit more depth to his back there than Nick. So, but man, Nick Walker's, I don't know, does Nick Walker have the best hamstrings and thickness in the pro league right now?
Yeah.
Pretty damn great.
Like that's what's helping Nick in a lot of these poses now is the damn hamstrings. Yeah. So big. It's like shit. He's killing these guys in the hamstrings. So it's dominating. So that's why it's making it that much closer than it would normally be. So okay, real lat.
When you got the cross striations on the hamstrings, you're doing it good.
Yeah. It's crazy. Whatever he's doing, keep doing it. Side. Okay, yeah, we didn't get to this one. Side tricep. This was a debatable one. This is
is that the hamstring he tore? Anybody know which hamstring that he tore a couple of years ago?
Was it the left? Was it the left?
I think it was the left.
Oh, okay.
That's what. All
right. Sorry about that. Next.
Yeah. That tricep.
This was weird for me because being there, Nick has the thicker abs and the more developed abs popping. I thought he should have brought that hand closer to the crowd, and I think that would have turned this shot upside down as far as like look at the tricep development. You got to go with Nick Walker here.
Yeah,
I did.
But I just always remember Nick's arm looking more dominant, like thicker in that pose, and for some reason now it just looks thin compared. Like it's almost thinner than Derek's. When you know it's not physically, it's not, but it just the way he's pulling it back too far, maybe like you said.
It's the way he's posing it. It's the way he's posing it.
Yeah, he switched it up. It used to be such a dominant pose, and now it's like Aceto's giving it to Derek. Dave Palumbo's giving it to Derek.
Yeah, you could change that shot for Nick and make it way more powerful, but yeah, it's just the way he's doing it. But I was just looking at the actual shot and the abs and whatever. I mean, Derek got it. I mean, he's got it good. I mean, you can go with either or and not be terrible.
Mm-hmm. But you're giving it to Nick.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the delt and the tricep. I mean, I'd go there.
Okay. Phil, who you got on the side tricep?
Well, Kamara showed me the tricep difference here. I didn't even notice that either. But man, listen, Derek, the way he's turning makes it look really, really appealing. But you got to look at the delts and the tricep. If Nick just turned just a little bit more and brought that other shoulder around, it would have clean house. But I'm going to go with Nick's. I mean, you just see his tricep. He's pushing down. You can see that horseshoe. You can see that shoulder. Derek, his waistline, I really like how he's like bringing that waist in and turning a little bit. But Nick, for the shot, for the side tricep, because that's what the pose is, I would have to give it to Nick. even though Derek, it just looks a little bit more pleasing to the eye.
Yeah.
Okay.
He turned. Nick is almost like he's getting arrested, and Derek is kind of hitting it, conventionally. I mean, he's got to change the shot, but I still would give it to him.
Okay. Ron, who you got on the side tricep?
I give it to Nick, but I'm agreeing with you guys. I wish he would hit it more the way Derek hits it, or at least try to pull a little bit of a vacuum or something. But twisting would probably help. It would make it
more. That's more like,
Okay. Yeah. Now that at the end of the day, the tricep is what the dominant body part you're looking at here is, and I was kind of like leaning towards Derek because of like Phil and everyone's saying it looks better on Derek how he's hitting it. It's just symmetrically, it just looks right. Yeah. But on Nick, first off, that's a shot he should be winning regardless, even though he's posing it improperly now. But the tricep is very dominant. It's much bigger than Derek's, and so I give it to Nick. The side tricep. Before I was leaning more towards Derek, but after hearing you guys and thinking about it more, it goes.
Yeah, because you don't look at it until Chris Kimura like showed you that, because I didn't physically look. I was looking more at the style of the tricep, the how they pose, because I was taught to pose that way. Like Tim Garner was teaching me always a turn. It just gives the waist a little, make it look a little bit smaller, the illusion. But I physically wasn't looking at it. I mean, that's why Chris Kimura is who he is. I mean, he's a legend of sports. So to notice those little detail things, it does make a big difference.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so side tricep goes to Nick. Let's see if we can get an ab and thigh. There's actually a better one over here.
Is it?
I got this one. There we go. Ab and thigh.
Good for him. It's not good for Nick on this. You got to go back.
Okay. Well, so this one, do this ab and thigh. So they're both actually hitting this ab and thigh. I know he does the crunch to oblique. I'll show that one, but I want this dead on ab and thigh. Who's winning this pose? Chris, come here.
Well, we gotta let him hit this pose though. I gotta let Nick hit the pose.
There we go.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thank you. I gotta go with Nick.
I didn't even realize I had two there. That's good. Thank you.
I went with Nick.
With Nick, okay. And based on the abs are more dominant, showing popping through.
Derek improved his ab shot tremendously, and I just thought it was a little bit better at the Arnold Classic.
Yeah,
and I thought the legs were a little bit better at the Arnold Classic, as far as dense wise, and a little bit fuller at the Arnold Classic for him. I do like the differential between the lats and the abs and everything. I get all that, but just going on straight, ab and thigh. When I was there, the feeling I was having was Nick was winning the ab and thigh.
Yeah. Okay. Phil, who you got on the ab and thigh?
Well, Nick's abs clearly looks much better. I'm all for that abdominal turtle shell. That's what I'm known for. Now the elbow placement, which once I was taught the same way, Nick is crunching in, so it makes the lats look narrow, even though it is an ab shot. If he opens those elbows up, it gives more flair to the lats. It just makes it look more pleasing. So I give it to Nick. I like how Derek's sticking out that one leg. I do it as well. Just to see the sweeps and the inner part of the quads. But yeah, I give the ab shot because Nick's abs is just, you can see it's really, really tight.
Yeah. Ron, who you got on the ab and thigh?
Nick, better abs, better thighs. Derek's abs are just shallow. He needs to thicken them up. Nick does have a turtle shell popping kind of look, but they're bricks. Look at that.
Yeah, he's holding it in. It looks good.
Yeah. You can see it's a bit of a turtle shell, but the abs are just so much more dominant. He looks drier and just better in this shot. Derek's quads kind of lose the separation in this for a little bit. I don't know if he's just not focusing on the quads when he's hitting this shot, because he does have deep separation, but he's losing it in this pose. So that's another pose that Derek I just don't think is comfortable with. So when he hits it, it becomes a mess because it's just not there yet. Chris, on this pose, who's hitting it properly? Is Derek with his arms wider, or is Nick with his arms closer?
I like the way he's hitting it better, but he's still in the process of thickening those abs. I think he still have a ways to go with that. And, once that's intact, and I think, it can sway over here. But right now, I mean, it seems like Nick has been pounding his abs for a few years now.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, I got to go with him on that right now.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give Nick the ab and thigh. Abs are better, thighs are better in this pose. So, and then it's a crazy thing because I am hard on Nick about his waist, but then he wins the freaking ab and thigh. So,
yeah. that was the shock. That was the shock thing. I mean, about the whole show. It was like the guy on the left is the damn Mr. Olympian champion. He's a 2-time. I mean, he's a 212 champion and an open champion. This guy, that shit is hard to do, man. To say all the criticism that Nick takes over the years, Nick Talker and all this stuff that people saying is like, man, he came to play.
Yeah, he brought it, and we'll go to finish off with most muscular.
You got to go with Nick.
Yeah,
you got to go. I mean, look at the chest, the grainy density of the body. It's like, why wouldn't this guy think he's walking away with this title?
True. And we have to think about, okay, so now we're at the end. So basically it's tied. I mean, for the most part, 4-4 in the poses, I think, generally here. Why did Derek, first off, Chris, why did Derek win this show after the third confirmation round? It was tied. They gave the edge to Derek.
Well, I thought Nick was going to win it from my standpoint, because I mean, if you look right here, this is like the last shot, and if you take into account the pluses and minuses, the bells and whistles of the physique. Derek's got the taper physique. Nick has got the powerful physique. Nick got a lot more muscle in his physique per square inch. He's more muscular everywhere. And he was on more than Derek. So, I mean, if you look at conditioning, you look at overall muscularity, it's an open bodybuilding competition. I mean, I would have to go with the guy on the right.
Okay, so you're officially saying now, Nick Walker, you think Nick should have won the show?
So half the table of the judges had Nick, half the table of the judges had Derek. I was probably on this side of the table, just because I mean of those things I just mentioned. Like even though it's most muscular, you see the abs popping, you see the graininess, you see the size, you see the chest separation throughout the chest down the middle.
Let me ask Chris. I want to, because you were there. You're the only one of us that was actually there. I keep hearing that Derek was much, much better at finals than he was in the judging. And I didn't see that much of a difference on the videos and stuff. But in person, did you see that?
No, I didn't see that. I thought he was way better at the Arnold. And some people saying he was this. I don't know. Some people saying that he was. I don't know. Just when those muscles are dancing around and you're there watching all this, the dramatics on the stage. Steve even let them get a little physical up there, which I like. I wish he would do more. And, that was cool, man. It was like the energy that was bringing, it was like, that was some real bodybuilding stuff. That was real bodybuilding stuff right there. And that's what I like to see, like keeping them all separate and whatever at bay. I mean, this was electric. It was electric and the crowd was going crazy. Right. And I'm just glad I was there to see it and not have to, watch it on the screen and try to get a good idea what's going on.
Okay. So Cormier has Nick winning close, but the edge goes to Nick. Phil Playhard, who do you have after all this assessment?
Well, my personal opinion, from what I saw, I mean, Chris had a better shot than all of us. But I'm just knowing how these judges operate, especially when they used to hit me for certain things. And of course, Milos always makes it clear at all times, regardless of transition or whatever the case may be, you have to keep the midsection in check all the time. I might fall at it at times too. I think when they were going through that pose down, Steve should have been careful. I told somebody, he told me to throw elbows. I would start throwing elbows for real. But you telling me to throw elbows, I'm gonna throw some elbows. But like right there, I think the really big call is when they were going at it, and Steve was like, all on the table, all on the marbles, throw elbows, go for it, go for it. I think Nick got too excited to the point where he started relaxing his midsection. And listen, it's apple to oranges when you say this, but you got to hold it in check at all times.
Do they judge the pose down? No.
We can say they don't, but listen, man, when it's this close, structurally is what I believe how more aesthetically pleasing is what I believe Derek won by. Because condition-wise, Nick had it. Size-wise, Nick had it. The posing, it went back and forth, right? But this is what I had to deal with, so I have to speak on it at all times. This is what I'm told. And I used to go at them too. It could be a pose down, it could be in your routine, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? You just have to hold it in check at all times. That's just my opinion, because it was so close. It was a flip of a coin, the way I'm going to see it, and that's how the decision was called. But when you're looking at aesthetics, Nick checked a lot of boxes as well as Derek did. But I would have favored somewhat. Nick brought it. I was not expecting Nick to bring it like this and be in that condition like he was. I just think that if he would have held his composure, I know that Chris was saying, back in the day, didn't smile. I was also chewed out about that. Your presentation on stage as a professional bodybuilder, you have to look like you're enjoying yourself up there, right? Nick, I know, is a more powerhouse from the streets. I'm going to bring it. I'm ready to take on the world. That's understandable. But some of the poses, you have to just hit those smiles. Let everybody know that you're comfortable on that stage. You're enjoying your job, and just bring it. So I think there's a lot of things these judges are looking at in total. But I just believe there was some times in the poses he kept it. In some transitions, he did not keep it. And I think minute, that's what they're looking for. It was just a minute thing that caused the decision to go. Nick had prejudging, and then we had the finals, which it went with Derek. So minute. I think we say they don't, but we don't know what these judges are thinking. And then we know what Steve likes. So I think it was just very, very tough. And just a small little mistake just cost us. That's my opinion.
Wait, Tank. Wait, dog. Wait. So you trying to tell me you can't? I mean, you saw the muscle from the back, the hamstrings hanging. Are you like negating all of those different things because you got a little excited and it might be a little bit more air in the stomach at certain times?
No, I'm not negating that. What I said was the reason why I believe Derek pulled it through. Structurally and more physically appealing is what I'm looking at. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, the points will pile up throughout the duration of this competition. But if you just start looking at all the different things you said, and then you look at the little things like, the abs a little inverted, not like Ice Cube's ab. He won the back double, which he usually body slams everybody. He did not do that here. It was more like he got stood up. Like when they switched on different sides, like right here, like this shot right here, I give that to Nick. I give it to Nick all day. That's what I was saying. Like some shots that you did, that this is at the very end right here. I was giving it to Nick.
I think Derek looks better on this side. I think the popping, there's more separation now in his back. Look at all the little detail. There's a lot more detail. And look at the separation in the mid back now. The line is coming through now. So
left.
Yeah. What was Tyler's? I didn't see. What was Tyler's judgment on why Derek?
I don't know. I want to see that though. That's going to be the most.
Well, okay.
The most watched video out of the whole year.
We have, so I guess Steve Weinberger was on the Color Cast. I guess Antoine was talking about it, and they discuss why Derek won. Okay, we're going to get into that. I guess Steve was talking to Jay, and then it was on the Color Cast, and they discuss. Yeah, that's what I'll play the video here in a second. But did we finish? Okay, so that was Ron, what's your final assessment on who won? We left off at Phil.
It was a tie, which I don't know if we've ever had a tie before. I don't know if that's ever happened, but they needed some reason for someone to win and someone to lose. And Nick did let his midsection relax a few times. He was also chewing gum, which Dorian was very upset about. I mean, little, you could say these are stupid things. Like, really, he's going to lose because his gut. Well, they had to come up with something. It was a dead tie, and you can't have a tie in bodybuilding.
No,
I thought Nick had the show. Honestly,
good point. Good point. That's a
Well,
good point.
Don't mean to cut you off. It was a tie between me and Hassan in Orlando.
Okay.
So this is not the first one.
But
It was a tie with me and Hassan, and we had to battle it out. And honestly, Hassan. He wasn't the best Hassan, but he outmuscled me because of his stature. You know what I mean? I just outposed him, and my structure was better, and I was able to pull it out. You know what I mean? It was very close win, but I was able to pull out that tie.
Okay.
How about if you look at the fact that you just saw him at the Arnold Classic, a tad drier than this look. Then you see Nick come out like this is the best look, the best Nick I've seen
Ever. I agree.
Yeah, and he walked
Best
out.
Nick.
He was looking like a brand new body when he walked out the first time, and that struck me like this is gonna be different. And so you get a guy who balls to the wall for the show. You get a guy who did a show, and then this is like the coasting, finishing up before taking it all the way off to get ready for Olympia, and you still don't grant the guy the win.
I know. Listen, I hear you.
You know what? I honestly think that losing was better for Nick's popularity and everything than winning would have been. Because had he won, people would have been happy for him.
It would have made it more. It would have made it more.
The Olympia.
More interesting at that Olympia when it comes around.
100%.
That's true.
They're gonna have a winner next week, no matter what.
Yeah. So because it's tied, and I'm going to go based on more of what Steve, I guess, is alluding to, is the structure. Is just that Derek's structure is just it's better. It has more of an X frame. You could say, although in the back shots it looks like Nick has a good X frame too. So, that's kind of the reasoning they're giving is that Derek has this more polish. That's the word that's been going around lately: polish, finesse, charisma on that stage, smiling, enjoying it, right? Professionalism, no chewing of the gum, no waist hangout. All those little things add up when it's tied. If it wasn't tied, obviously, someone would have won. It would have been Derek easily with the scores, but it was tied. So what do you look for when it's tied? Okay, well, what can we pick at? Well, we can pick at the midsection. We can pick at the midsection. We can pick at the finesse of the posing and the polish and the quarter turn, the back shots, the symmetry, the aesthetics.
The size of different muscle groups,
Yes. But bigger isn't always better. We've seen that. We've obviously, Derek already beat Samson down to 305 pounds, and Samson has maybe better aesthetics than Derek.
Yeah,
and he beat him.
Yeah.
So I mean, and then a conditioning thing comes into place. Who was a bit drier? Who was a bit more crisp? So Dave and Asito are saying that Derek was more crisp and drier. I don't know. Like this is the thing. People are looking at, but they were at the show. So
I know. But here's how I look at it. Like when we're watching the live stream, if these guys look good, they got to look that much better in person. So now you got to start putting a different lens on to try to dissect it, right? And I'm sorry, I love Derek. We're very close. We both live in Florida. I love Nick. I talk to Nick all the time through text, but I got to give gratitude where gratitude is. I mean, Nick was drier. And he was more peeled. Derek looked like he wasn't Arnold. Derek looked like he had a film of like water, like right there. He just was not the Arnold. Yeah. Because see, the Arnold, he had to come in ridiculous to be able to beat a Simpson Dowda. Coming into this show, we also got to understand Derek is dealing with some serious family situations. His grandmother. There's a lot of things people don't know. So I already knew it was going to tax him a little bit going into this show because of what they're dealing with. what he's dealt with in his family. So not that I want to give him an excuse, but for him to still step on this stage with the seriousness, I'm not going to go in details, with what's going on with his family member, dude, kudos to him that he was able to pull this out with Nick looking freaking 110% on stage. You know what I'm saying? So no, he wasn't Arnold. He's not. I love Chris Aceto, I respect him, but he was not the most conditioned and the driest person on that stage. He was not.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll go. I want to play this video here so we can get the inside here, what happened at this with Steve. So let me just share my screen here. There. Okay.
Rampage, so it's a good balance between the two. So pretty much what happened.
Can't hear nothing.
Can't hear it?
So it was a tie, right? But Derek, his leg fullness was maybe not.
You guys can't hear that.
I can hear it.
You hear it?
Okay.
I can hear it.
Chris, can you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, Phil, why can't you hear that?
A little bit.
Okay.
As good as the Arnold was
I
more
can
like
hear it.
Olympia, and Nick
Let me go back.
Walker was like
Let me go back here a little bit.
as good, but is that So it was a tie, right? But Derek, his leg fullness was maybe not as good as the Arnold, was more like close to the Olympia, and Nick Walker was like pretty much on, but the shape of Derek, like even Jay, his opinion was like, I think the shape of Derek, his aesthetic, his flow, all that type of stuff was like pretty much gave him the edge. But this is at the end they made him do it at the 2 extra rounds because they wanted to see like who would kind of like fade out more. And I think Nick Walker with his stomach a little bit threw up his symmetry and proportions compared to Derek near the end. So this is what I got a gist of it. This is what I seem to have gotten from what Jay was telling me. So it was pretty much like super close, but at the end they did a lot of points on proportions, I guess, and symmetry and balance, and because bodybuilding is judged by all that, right? Not just mass and condition.
Okay.
That's what I said.
Athletic, weak, and
Okay. So I want to play that, but let's just go into here. Even when he walks out, doesn't his that's where the midsection, that's where the structure, this is the structure of Nick.
Yeah.
If you're gonna pick it apart, it's just doesn't bodybuilding mean like symmetry and proportion in conjunction with the other body parts together?
Yeah, but they don't hold to it all the time. But yes, I think it matters more when it's a decision maker, in my opinion. I think Nick here, even when he came out, I think he was ridiculous. He was winning pre-judging. Yeah. He was ridiculous.
Yes, he did.
That's what I said at the end when they were working them and making them pose. I know Steve. I know how he thinks, and yes, that's how Steve broke him. Somebody had to fail in poses somewhere for them to say you're the winner, because it was so damn close. And I knew that was the call. And I told Patty, I said, Steve's about to run him and he's going to push him and get them all excited. And he's going to make a decision based on what he sees with all that going on. And that's what he did.
What is that?
What's that?
Nick Walker just messaged me, says, I wasn't chewing gum, LOL.
What was going on, Nick? What was going on?
Nick was moving his
I think he was dehydrated. He was dehydrated.
He was like chewing on his tongue or something.
Tell him, Nick.
He was so dry, he was dehydrated. I've seen him do that, though. He did that in another show. He was doing that with his mouth, because Patty said, do you see that? I said, no. And then I zoomed in. It's just water. You just need some water. That's all.
Just get a pasty mouth then.
Cotton mouth.
All right. So yeah, that's Steve's, I guess, and Jay's kind of assessment on what happened is like they had to just go structurally. Nick just, but I think Nick would be the first to say that my structure isn't.
Yes, he said it. You said it.
Cutler won a couple of shows, not the best structure.
That's true.
True.
Cutler won a few shows.
Yeah,
I had a smaller waist than Cutler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't give it to you, man.
Should have.
They should have a couple.
Should've.
Of them.
But at the end of the day, man, listen, when Nick steps on that Olympia
see
stage,
those.
bro, and he brings which I think he could do better. You know what I mean? I've seen Nick with really tighter glutes in the back before. You know, he's going to go to New York. No disrespect to people there, but he's going to win that title. And once again, for the third time. And I think that Nick has a grudge. And he's gonna bring something really, really nasty, which I pray for it, just to make that Olympia so much more exciting. So listen, like I said, this really charged Nick up. He took it like a man. I know he was not happy because I saw his face. I've been there. He was not happy because he knew he won. But I think now he's going to go in with more momentum, go kill this New York pro, and then he's going to come to the Olympia just nasty, you know what I mean, and do his thing.
And that's the thing too. People are saying, "Well, this isn't classic," but then you see Derek hitting a classic pose like this. Could Nick hit that and look aesthetically like? I don't think he could hit that pose.
But Nick does have some kneeling twisted shots that he did before that I was like, man, that's a good shot for Nick. I forgot what he was doing, but I remember.
He got down to the ground. I've seen him do it. Got down to the ground, hit a double bicep,
and looking good with it. Hit that shit again, Nick.
Yeah, man. Hit some classic poses, Nick. You got it. Right? So, yeah, like that when Derek does that, like that's if Nick could match that in his arsenal. Yeah.
Hey, Nick needs to hire Chris for the posing. And I think Nick tightens up some of it's just small tweaks, you know what I mean, and tighten up that pose. I mean, clearly Chris helped Derek because his posing is much better than what it was that we saw at the last Olympia, right? I think just some tweaks with Nick, like turning in with that tricep a little bit more, I think that'll really help. But I'm just really, really excited and shocked that he actually brought that waistline, regardless of what we saw when he was excited. I mean, for that waistline to look the way it looked, that is the best Nick I've seen since he's been competing.
You just gotta, you know, it can't just be the topic all the time, man. I mean, when you go to show, that's all that matters. When you control it and you present it, that's what it is.
I'll tell you what, a lot of Nick haters became Nick fans this past weekend.
True.
He redeemed himself so much. For people saying, "Oh, he's Nick Talker. He's not even going to show up at the show. He'll drop out." You know, all that shit talk. As I knew, once they saw this amazing new version, people would forget about all that stuff immediately, and they did. And again, I think losing the show, obviously he wanted to win. He wanted the money and the Olympic qualification, but this made him the underdog. The crowd, the world is talking. The bodybuilding world, all we're hearing now is Nick was robbed. Nick was the better bodybuilder. We love Nick. You know, no, and I almost feel bad for Derek because he's getting a lot of heat and he's not a judge.
Yeah. Right now, Nick is the most beloved and respected bodybuilder on the planet today, right now.
Yeah,
right?
He is. He's got the fans, man. He's getting 90% in the polls. People are like, no, Nick won this. And it's crazy. I do feel a little bit bad for Derek, but I mean, Phil Heath has been through this. When people hated Phil Heath against Kai Green. He thought Kai was robbed. So this has happened before in our sport. And now look at Phil. People like him. It's fine, right? And no issues there. So
listen, anytime you're winning, look at the New England Patriots. Look at anytime you're winning a lot, people start hating you. So that's just the way it goes.
Yeah. Let's quickly, before we wrap this part up, Bonek and Martin. Chris, you were there. In prejudging, I had Bonek winning, but then Martin really fucking came out of nowhere in the finals and tightened the fuck up, and it was like night and day difference. And I'm like, okay, well maybe Martin.
You had him third after the
third after finals.
It was right there, man.
Close. I don't know.
I was surprised with Bonek. I mean, the back double, the last press. I was like, damn. I keep thinking he's gonna fall off, and he's washed, and he ain't washed. He's still swinging and still taking some guys out. You can see the age on the body a little bit, in the pecs and in the right lat from the back, a little bit of age or damage going on. But, all in all, it was still like great. If he would have a little bit more, like he normally have the diced up glute hamstring area like that, he might have edged out because it was a little bit softer than what the judges noticed, previously. In competition, but I think if Martin was 5 pounds lighter, it would have been a different story. I just think he just shot it with the weight. And when he said that he was like 10 to 12 pounds heavier and Nick is not beating me, all this stuff he was saying to me on the text, I was just like, hey, man, show me, you know? And I think some of the shots he was taking, he was making himself underwhelming a little bit, front double. I mean, the face, everything was just like, I mean, like you're just not into it or not feeling confident about yourself or something. But it was like a look that I was just like, you don't want to do. I've done it before. You know, I've competed a long time, and I had someone exactly show me my facial expression. Your face expressions can dictate a lot to the judges, and the way you just look overall. It just starts with your face. You got to be totally tensed from the neck down and totally controlled from the neck up. And that's the way you pose. Like you got to be doing exactly what you want to do. You know, start hitting some of these most muscular shots that look great. Some of the legs. I just thought when you lock down a quad and you want to show the cross striations, you got to hit that middle head's got to be cross striated too. Otherwise, it's not the same effect if you're hitting the quads like that where you was hitting them. And I just felt like some of the shots was not like I was expecting. He went for more size, and he don't need to. I mean, 2-3 pounds. That's all you need. You don't need the judge already told you they like your physique, they like what you're doing. Come in that same condition with just 2-3 pounds, it's gonna be way more impressive.
I don't know what you can do with 8 pounds in a year. That's a lot. That's like where's that going in like half a year? Not even half a year. Like that's too much, man. Martin could have won this show if he was like peaked perfectly.
He would have been. He would have been a good. I mean, I don't know about winning the show, but he would have did himself way more justice. If you ask me, if he was just not trying to be so big. You're never going to be a mass monster. So I don't understand where all this mass trying to put. Where are you trying to put it?
Yeah, like he's the same height as Derek in a sense, same kind of structure almost to Derek Lunsford. Why is he trying to get bigger than Derek? Derek's winning lighter than Martin, and why, use the formula that's working for Derek. It's coming shredded. So I don't know. I'm Fuad and Ian when they did the bro chat. They said that I'm changing my prediction to Martin winning. They saw some photos or something of him, and they're like, "There's no way Martin's winning this show." Like, okay.
You're a hostile athlete, right?
Yes. Yeah. True.
There you go.
Yeah. So maybe that has to do with it. All right. So we're going a little bit long here. I want to do one more thing on the New York Pro that's coming up. And let me switch back to Instagram and we'll just wrap up with that. Here, back. Okay, so we got Regan Grimes. Can Regan beat? Can he beat Nick Walker?
Nope.
1,000% no's across the board.
No disrespect. There's no one beating the Nick we just saw. No one is beating Nick in this New York Pro. No disrespect to any of the guys that's there.
No.
Could Regan beat Derek Lunsford?
No.
There you go.
Because
great back.
I saw Regan training and he was doing hamstring and they're peeled. Okay. I was like, where is this coming from?
He's always had hamstrings though.
That's true. The hamstrings on him are always very, very good.
You cannot go by that.
Yeah. His upper body is what you got to go by. You can't.
He's very good. He could be second. Nothing wrong with that.
That'd be great. That'd be great for him to be second.
2 more shows, 2 weekends after that. Keep going.
Yeah.
When was this video here?
This is a week ago. I mean, it looks pretty dry for 2 weeks out.
I think he still could be a little drier. I'm all about the skin. The skin could be a little bit much more thinner.
It's got a film. I mean, you got the outlining, great, but there's a film on the actual between the skin and the muscle all over it.
Yeah. I can't see Regan beating Nick. Yeah, structure again. Like Derek is better than Nick's, I think, in my opinion, from a flow, waistline, structure, symmetry, but just not enough mass to fight with Nick Walker. He's big. I don't know what Regan competes at stage weight wise. Maybe
260.
260.
He's about 260.
260. Yeah.
Well, and not only that, another thing is Nick brings so much energy and tenacity on that stage. That weighs in his favor like every time. Like he controls the crowd, he controls the whole room. A lot of people don't have that.
Yeah, and they love him. They love him in New York. It's going to be loud. They love him there.
Yeah. So we got and then Bonax jumping in New York.
Yes.
Yeah,
Bonax trying to rack up some cash, boy.
Yeah. I think this is the final tour, but
I see. I believe so.
Yeah, I think Bonax doing it. I think he's doing it. And then yeah, and Crizzo. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, with that being a close show, I get it that Derek wasn't 100% on.
Yeah,
but he's definitely got to pencil him in for one of those top spots at that Olympia.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He does some more, especially does some more improving, which I know he will. You gotta. I mean, I know Bob was giving him an 8th place already, but that's gotta seem a little ridiculous right now, right?
Yeah,
he's not getting 8th place.
Bob's eating those words. Like he knows he kind of messed up, but do it now. He's got to eat that, walk that back, and he was nervous on stage there.
Oh shit!
Could you imagine if Nick pulled that off and he had to interview Nick? Oh my goodness!
Would have loved that one.
I think Nick would have played it up a lot. I think he would have pushed Bob a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I would have knocked Bob down with that one.
Yeah.
He probably would have shoved him right in the chest.
That would have been awesome. Okay, we'll finish up quick here with just a quick on the guest posing in Keon versus Samson, which is what we kind of got to see. Who looked better in the guest posing, Keon or Samson?
Well, I mean, in my opinion, Keon I think his height was kind of hurting him with Samson. But they're in great shape. It might be a little different look, but right now he's still a little guy next to Samson. But I mean,
Ronnie's saying that Keon's going to be next Mr. Olympia, like soon. Not next, not this year, but like he has Ronnie.
Oh, that was before this pose down, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, does he have the stature that? I mean, could he be? He could look better than Derek is doing it. If he.
That's what I'm saying, because Derek's done it at this stature.
Yeah. He's got better shape than Derek. He's got more meat between those ribs and his armpits. I mean, he's got that whole thing. That can be done. In the quads, I gotta say he could have better quads than Derek.
Yeah.
So just going up against Samson has got the ultimate, Ferrari right now in the open class. So just all depends on if Samson's in great shape or not. That's all he has to do.
Now this is Samson in the health phase. So considering he's off majority of the stuff, looks pretty good. Is Samson still the front runner going into the Olympia, or is Derek now? He's got technically the Triple Crown. He's won the Olympia, he's won the Arnold, now he's won the Pittsburgh Pro.
There's 3 front runners.
Yeah, we got a guy named Hottie that's licking his chops, waiting to get in there too.
Yeah.
Right now, Samson is still the man. He's Mr. Olympian. Until that titles get taken away, I just can't say that he is not still the front runner to win. We got excellent bodybuilders coming in here, and they're going to be ridiculous. We haven't seen Hadi, but we already know he's bringing something special. We know Nick is bringing something special. Only thing I'm a little unconcerned with, I really hope doing these shows that don't affect Derek in the Olympia. That's the only thing that's concerning me right now, is speaking for the Olympia. But Samson is still the front runner. He's still Mr. Olympia. I'm still a fan of his, and until that get taken away, there's nothing else left to say about it.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. Hunter Labrada is the name I was looking for. Him taking a year off and saying I need time for like my mental, which is fine, and my beliefs and whatever. Does that make sense right now for him to give his body? Hunter
30.
Ron usually knows it. I
want to say 32. I'll find out.
Prime years.
Like, did you ever take a year off? Like, what was your career like in the sense where did you just I'm gonna take a year off, get bigger?
Only time I took a year off was between 99. I took 92 off, and that was to try to get my man body under me. And I went from nationals, what to USA 91, took 4th. I took 7th in the nationals that year. I took 92 off to train with Flex and to help him get his pro cards, and I got mine in 93, and then I was off. Then you're talking to a guy that was sometimes doing 10 shows in 1 year. So I just wanted to keep competing, and unless I had some type of issue to where I couldn't get on stage, I was doing every Olympia and every Arnold Classic and summer shows right after.
Hunter is 32. In 5 days, he turns 33.
Yeah, so that's right in the middle of that. Should be at least 5 career. We'll.
I'm going to say, because times are a little bit different now. I'm not going to say it's not a good idea because we don't truly know what's going on with Hunter. I mean, we don't know. As fans of bodybuilding, we want these guys to continue to compete and continue to excel for greatness. But if there's something going on with him, mentally, physically, whatever the case may be, with how he's saying what he's saying, I think it's a good idea. He said he never took a break, and he wants to take one to deal with a lot of things, family, his spirituality, and all that good stuff. So I don't see anything wrong with it, even though we want to see him compete. But we don't want to see somebody compete if they're going through something and then they don't show up and produce, because then he's going to get chopped up for it. So he's still young, man. You know what I mean? So whatever he's working through, of course, we got to just give him our support and just hope that, he'll deal with it and then come back next year better. Now, if he comes back next year and he is not better, then that's a whole different conversation we could have. But for what he's going through right now, we do not know. So he's choosing to take the year off to deal with it. And Branch Warren obviously is on board with him and knows what's going on as well. So I think it's a good idea what he's doing.
Yeah, well said. Well said, because the pressure will be on him next year if he doesn't come back and look better from taking time off. That's the whole reason he's doing it, I'm assuming, for the most part. So, all right, guys, we're going to wrap it up there, man. Thanks for joining. Chris Cormier, Phil Clayhar, Ron Harris Muscle Man. Appreciate you guys. It was a good one.
Yes, man. Hey, Chris, nice having you, brother. Nice having you.
Yeah.
And Ron, the same.
Very pleasant.
Talk to you guys soon.
All right,
we'll do it again.
All right.
Take care, guys.
Later,
Peace.
guys.
Thanks. See ya.